What the hell are you?
What the hell are you?
Hi guys, and welcome once again to another episode of Piano and Keyboard Artist, the channel where we discuss everything related to keyboarded musical instruments, synthesizers and artist development, with me, Vaughan George. And today we're talking about Gary Numan. Before I start, I'd like to make a special shout out to the Numanoids fan page on Facebook. Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today we're talking about Dream Corrosion. Dream Corrosion was a live show filmed in 1993 in the Hammersmith Apollo. And I really enjoyed this concert actually because it was kind of like a greatest hits of Gary Numan. It really sort of showcased the journey of Numan, all the way from sort of Tube Army all the way to up until 1992 when he released the Machine and Soul album, which was Machine and Soul was not. When you look at where Gary Numan is now and you listen to Machine and Soul, it's not very. That was where he lost his way, but anyway, we'll get to that. So I had a copy of this. I bought it. I remember I owned it on VHS, and I bought it back in 2003 or 2004 on VHS cassette. And as I say, I enjoyed this show. It was a long show. It was 27 songs and a really good sort of like general showcase of Numan up until that point. So let's talk about this show in detail, shall we? Now, the band members were long-time regular drummer Richard Beasley, Aid Orange, also a long-time keyboard player at that time. Gary also had his brother John Webb playing keyboards on this, and John also played saxophone on certain songs, and I was very impressed with his saxophone. He's a very good saxophonist, very good saxophone player. Also on backing vocals he had TJ Davis, and on guitar he had the most 80s guitarist ever, complete with bicycle shorts, a bandana, goggles and poodle hair. Kipper. Okay, so I don't want to slag the guy off. All jokes aside, this was 1993, so I think his fashion was still a bit, This was 1993, but this was kind of, he was donning fashion that should have been buried in 1985. But anyway, all jokes aside about his fashion sense, this guy could really play guitar. Oh my God, incredible guitarist. But yeah, a very different kind of guitarist to what we have now with Steve Harris. So no disrespect to you, Kipper, one hell of a musician, and I believe Kipper is now a producer, and he's gone to do some great work. I think he's done some session work for Sting and some great artists. So I shouldn't be laughing, and I'm not laughing at him. I'm just taking the piss out of the bicycle shorts. But then again, we've all done some dreadful fashion thing. We're all guilty of some fashion disasters, as was Gary at that time. But we'll get to that. Okay, so this show starts off as in typical Numan style, you know, the dark, moody introduction. This time the intro is a song called Mission, which is kind of like a mid-tempo, sort of slow to mid-tempo, sort of looping kind of song. And then, of course, all the band members walk on, and it kicks off with the feature song, which is the feature song from the album he'd released that time called Machine and Soul, and this opening song called Machine and Soul. Now, I know this Machine and Soul is one of the probably least favorite Numan albums, but I still have some guilty this is one of those songs I have it's one of my guilty pleasures. I don't think I probably like it more than I should, but you know, it's not that bad but we'll talk about the Machine and Soul album in another video. Okay, so he goes on to do, after that, it goes into Outland. Now, I like Outland. Yeah, I like that. I kind of like that album as well. There were a few dodgy songs on there, but, you know, it's... One thing you can never mock Numan for is his sincerity. He was always very sincere about everything he did. And, you know, he made mistakes and he got it wrong. But if you take, like, Numan, like artists like Bowie, I mean, yeah, they did get it wrong sometimes, but when they got it right, they got it. When they got it wrong, they got it wrong. But when they got it right, they got it so right. If we look at current day Numan, and I've got more respect for artists like that than as opposed to, and we don't want to compare, but for instance, like a band like Oasis, great band, and I don't know how many albums Oasis released. Was it 5 or 6? But to me, from what I heard, it's like they released the same album 5 or 6 times. And what I mean by that is you knew what you were getting every time. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I've got so much respect for people like Numan and Bowie where they just went a little bit off the wall, but they really try to push the envelope and, you know, and try to develop as an artist and do things differently. Anyway, so yeah, Outland. I liked Outland. Boom, 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 boom. It's got quite a sleazy kind of sound. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but I just liked it. And it's got this kind of like, it's got a bit of like a Stevie Wonder thing. And songs from that period were really they really highlight how sort of lost Gary was at that time. Because if you listen to his music now, and also sort of like his early stuff, he definitely knew it was clear that he had a clear picture where he was going. Whereas that sort of mid 80s to like early 90s, you could hear that he'd clearly lost his way. And, you know, thank God Gemma came along and saved him and you know, put him back on track. And but anyway, that's another story. Okay, so he goes on to do the 4th track, which is Me, I Disconnect From You. Once again, that to me was, watching the show, that was the first song within the set where, okay, now we're getting to the proper Numan stuff. And you can also always gauge by the crowd reactions how they take to it. He then goes on to do We Are So Fragile. Yeah, I've got no real comments on that. Not too bad. Then track number 6. I'm sorry, I love Gary Numan, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to criticize him, and I'm sure a lot of the songs that I'm criticizing, he himself would probably be more critical of himself. He goes on to do a song called Respect, which is absolutely just dreadful. It's complete with overkill guitar solos, screaming girl vocals. I've got some notes here. I said the song just sounds like a sleazy merge between cabaret and American high school teenagers. You know, it's got like these... It was just a bizarre time that he was really like... You could hear he was trying to... It's like he was... If you look at Numan these days, he's on his own trip and he doesn't really care. He's just like, this is what I do and I do it. And he does it really well. But at this time, you could feel there was this kind of pussyfooting, like, oh, let me try this, let me try this. So he was doing his sound was a little bit like Prince. I think he even did Prince covers, and it was a little bit like, he had like these funk elements and he had like these girl vocals, and there was more girl vocals than him. He'd almost put himself in the background and he became like a backing singer in his own act. And this song, Respect, is to me one of those songs which just highlight how lost he was at that time. And that was Respect, definitely one of the worst songs on that show, and probably one of the worst songs in his career, I feel. Then it comes on to he did Shame. Now I actually really like this song. It's got a real sort of it has elements of classical Numan to it. You know, those sort of the melodies and everything. Despite Kipper killing it with his 80s guitar solo, I do actually like the performance on this. I think it went down well. The next song he did was Films. This is a very, very good version of Films. Very, 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 very energetic. As I say, he did 27 songs, and he doesn't sort of get to go off. He just goes straight. And films. This was a very good version, and obviously songs like that are classic Numan songs, and I just can't say anything bad about them. Then he went on to do a ballad, just slowing down the tempo of the show now. Dream Killer. Dream Killer was a ballad from his Outland album, and this is a good song actually. A very close to his heart, very emotional, very tender, showing Numan's more sensitive side, and it's got great backing vocals from T.J. Davis and a very impressive sax solo from John Webb. As I say, the sax playing in this really impressed me. Right, then track number 10. He goes down to do probably one of the best versions of Down in the Park I've ever seen, and I love this, how it's got like an extended intro. I think he probably used this as a chance to just get off the stage and probably just go splash his face. So yeah, this and a lot of fans do say that this is probably one of the best versions of one of the best live versions of Down in the Park. I love the sort of like homage he was paying to Predator, of all those anytime, all those samples in the background.
What the hell are you?
What the hell are you?
Sorry about that. Yeah, definitely one of the best versions of Down in the Park, and I loved when he was singing it, how they had the lights. So if you've seen of course you've seen the Predator movie. The Predator's got that like laser vision, that laser beam that later targets on you with the 3 dots, and I like the way when he was doing this Down in the Park version, they had this like, all the beams of light had those like alien, like the 3 laser beams. Yeah, best version of Down in the Park. Right, then he drops the ball again when he does, when I drops the ball again, it's just, what was the next song? My World Storm. I've got it written as My Shitstorm. Not one of the worst ones, but once again, it's just reeks of identity crisis, and it's killed with overkill guitars from Kipper once again. Next, he went on to do The Macman, which was another filler kind of track, which I don't feel was, in my opinion, completely necessary for this show. But then again, if he was doing 27 songs, it's not that bad. Right, Generator. This is probably up there with one of the worst songs he's ever done. I mean, this song is just the epiphany of everything that he was getting wrong at the time. Well, not he was getting wrong. I don't want to be negative, but this was an awful song. I mean, the guy... It's quite funny when you see the guy who wrote songs like Down in the Park, and now he's doing Generate!
We generate faith, we generate fashion, we generate probably true.
Yeah. And it's got this... Hey! It's like a real strange merger between like American cheerleaders with a touch of an influence of Prince, and then of course with incredibly overkill 80s guitarists, 80s guitar solos. Gary, what were you thinking, man? And then I love the way when the song feels like it's been playing for like 20 minutes, it gets to a point where it takes a break and you go, oh thank God it's finished. But then it kicks in again and goes, Suspicion! Worst Numan song ever. Okay. Right, let's leave the criticism now. He redeems himself, because then he goes on to do Noise Noise. And Noise Noise is a typical classic Numan song. And to me, every classic Numan song is dark, moody, melodic, anthemic, and emotional. And I think that's the way I sum music. That is how I sum Gary Numan's music up. It's dark, it's moody, it's melodic, it's anthemic, and it's emotional. And when it ticks all those boxes, then you've got a classic Numan song. All right, he goes on to do Cars after that. This is not a bad version of Cars. I did find it was a little bit, it just seemed to be played a little bit too fast. Yeah, it wasn't a bad version. It's got a bit of a kipper overkill guitar solo in it. And one of the distracting elements of that song, which I felt was unnecessary, was it's got this weird little percussion groove in the background, which is kind of like an agogo, it's like an ago. I think it's an agogo. So like a really like rattly kind of. It's a cheesy kind of sound that just doesn't, I feel, fit with it. But no, not a bad version, of course. He then goes on to do, is it Voix? Voy? One stranger, one heartbeat, one love is forever. Great song, great melody. And once again, dark, moody, melodic, anthemic, and emotional. That is a great song. Look, Gary, when I'm critical, but when I give praise, I give praise. So that was a brilliant song. He then goes on to do, I think three Tubeway Army songs in a row. You are in my vision. Yeah, you are in my vision. He follows that up with It Must Have Been Years, and That's Too Bad. Then he goes on to do track number 20, Remind Me to Smile. I kind of like this version. The next song is I'm an Agent, which is a pretty upbeat sort of old school Numan song. He then goes to do a classic crowd pleaser, which is Friends Electric, and that's just a song that always goes down really, really well. Interesting how Friends Electric, how they started doing the whoa, 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 the record version was doo-doot, 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 but they started going whoa, whoa, and that became like a chant, and that's a very big moment of every Numan concert now, is that whoa, 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 whoa. So, there's never any criticism on Friends Electric. There are many different live versions, and some are better than others, but I've never seen a version that I didn't like. So yeah, no complaints here. It then slows it down to do My Breathing, which is the that sort of Arabic sounding track. Once again, no complaints here. Very, very good backing vocals by TJ Davis. Then they go on to do a song called I Don't Believe. It's not very bad, not very Numan, but not one of his best. Track 25, he went on to do Bombers, which was another Tubeway Army track. And then, second last song, he grabbed his acoustic guitar and he did Joe the Waiter, which is from the which is a 1978 Tubeway Army song. Joe the Waiter, I'm personally not a fan of it. I'm not saying it's bad. I did laugh in an interview once how Gary talked about how one of his fans was having a go at him because I think Gary himself was slagging off the Joe the Waiter song. He's like, oh, remember this guy's been doing it for many years, 40 years now, and and I think one fan was very pissed off with him because he slagged off Joe the Waiter and he said, I'm never going to do that live again. It was quite funny, just him, slagging off his own song and a fan having a go at him, which I thought was funny. And then track number 27, he ends with one of his early hits, We Are Glass, and that was a good way to end the show. Right, guys, so my final thoughts on this. I really enjoyed the Dream Corrosion concert. I thought it was very energetic, great musicianship, and a great sort of showcase, showing, all of Numan's stuff sort of from early Tubeway Army up until 1992. Of course, a few dodgy tracks, but on the whole, a very enjoyable show. And with regards to the dodgy tracks, it doesn't matter. For Gary Numan to end up where he is now, it doesn't matter that he's released a few crap songs back in the I've lost my way period. Right guys, so if this is your first time to my channel, please do subscribe and leave a comment. You can also check out some of my previous videos. I think I've done another one on Numan, and I've done a few Depeche Mode ones as well. So these are early days. Gary Numan has just announced a 40th anniversary tour, so if you're going to go to that, please let me know which gig you're going to. I personally am going to go to one of the Roundhouse gigs in London. I might go to both of them, and I look forward to bumping into some of you there. Also, let me know what you thought of the Dream Corrosion concert, and were you there? That'd be interesting, and let me know what you thought. Guys, thank you very much once again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. All the best.